Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, here it is, Thursday afternoon, and I'm going to bring up a subject that we've talked about before. Watch what happens in Europe because that's what's inevitably coming here. Okay. We all know that Joe is certainly part of the European cabal of going completely socialist, unless, of course, you're an Eastern European country and then you want a democracy. Yes, I know we're a constitutional republic. Don't bring it in the comments again. I know, you know, don't need to prove anything to anybody. But we have all these Western European countries, Germany, France, Spain, England, that all want to go socialist, because it worked so well the last time it was tried with the Soviet Union, right? Well, let me ask you this question. Have you bought your EV yet? Probably not. Most of us are like, hell no, that ain't ever going to happen. I mean, every time you turn around, it's like, they don't work. They're great for little trips around town or whatever, but if you got to drive anywhere at a distance, it's not any good. Gee, I can't charge it here. Gee, there's a 4-hour line, so I can sit here and wait an hour to charge my vehicle. No, thank you. Well, Europe has come up with a great solution for this one. How many of you guys own a car that was made in 2010 or earlier? Probably a lot of us. It's paid off, it still runs, and you don't have to worry about car payments. Your insurance is cheaper. Depending on the state, your plates are cheaper, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cars are made out of so much aluminum and plastic anymore. They don't rust. And, depending on how old your car is, maybe you can even work on it yourself. Then let's get into people who, hey, maybe we own a much older car, one that doesn't have all the electronic ignition, it runs mechanically, not electronically. One of those cars that an EMP wouldn't bother. Those kinds. Well, Europe's got a brilliant idea. They're going to ban repairs on cars that are older than 15 years. So if you try to take your 2009 Chevy truck to the mechanic's going to say, sorry, we can't work on that by law. We can't fix it. Right? This is actually what they're trying, and I'll link this below so you can read this. Imagine how that's going to affect people. Take a look at what car payments are now. I think the average car payment in the United States is somewhere around $700 right now, okay? And you take the average Social Security payment of people, and it's around $1,500, okay? A mortgage company won't give you a mortgage if your house payment is going to be more than 30% of your income. But you're expected to pay near 50% of your income for a vehicle, a depreciating asset. Gee, there's a good idea. Save the planet, go broke. Buy your electric vehicle. That way you can live in it because you can't afford rent or a house anymore. Now, this is just a proposed law in Europe, okay? It hasn't come to fruition yet. But don't think that the tree huggers and the climate change morons in the United States aren't looking at this going, hey, that's a great idea. Let's stop companies from making spare parts for those old cars, right? And we've talked many times about having filters and air filters, oil filters to change your own oil. I talked the other day maybe about having a sixth spare, a second spare, a sixth tire for a vehicle, just in case you can't get something. Taking a look at those ideas. Do you know somebody, or can you repair your vehicle? Okay. Your gas-powered engine. The problem that we have right now is, and I said this the other day too, Take any vehicle you have and go take it to the mechanic, and the very first thing they do is plug it into a computer. You don't own those computers. I don't own those computers. And a lot of those things cost 6 figures to buy for the shop. Okay. Maybe the minor stuff they can repair without a computer to figure out what it is. But even the go to AutoZone and plug in your, free check engine light diagnostics, plug that in. Yeah. Let's say something happens that they say you've got, pick something, a bad universal joint or whatever, Is there somebody that can fix that? No, U-joint, maybe, if they can get the parts, okay? But if it's something electronic, good luck, because they're not going to be available. Now, maybe for a few years you can find those parts in a junkyard, like a lot of us did when we were kids, I remember getting a new speedometer for my car out of a junkyard, going to get a new quarter panel for my car out of the junkyard, and me and my buddies would be sitting in the driveway on a Saturday putting it together. I remember sitting at my buddy's kitchen table one weekend rebuilding a carburetor, teenagers, 16 years old, and we were following the directions and rebuilding a carburetor. Okay. You could do that before. You can't now. Good luck. Okay. Everything out there is more and more computer-oriented. I mean, even when I was fixing my dishwasher, okay, you had to punch in all these different codes by different buttons or whatever, so it would give you some sort of detailed, the way it flashed lights to tell you what was wrong with the dishwasher. Okay, at least you could do that yourself. Cars, not so much. So what is your backup plan if your 15-year-old vehicle, which obviously needs repairs at times, okay? What is your backup plan if that doesn't work and you can't get it fixed? What if you can't go afford a newer vehicle? A lot of people can't, especially the price of cars now. I mean, like I said, $700-800 for a car payment. I mean, the average used car is somewhere near $30,000. The average new car is something like $45,000. Okay, that's getting up to the point where that's the equivalent of a year's salary for a lot of people. Sure, I'll go work for a year so I can buy a depreciating asset. Okay. But pay attention to what's going on with some of this stuff. You wonder why the world is going to hell. Will EVs eventually, or some sort of alternative fuel vehicle eventually replace the internal combustion engine? I'm sure of it. We're not ready. But these elitists are damn determined to get rid of an internal combustion engine to the detriment of everybody, because they can still afford a vehicle to put a charging station in their house. They might even still be allowed to have a armor-plated limousine that's run by diesel fuel, something that's strong enough to actually move all that. You and I aren't. This is just another way that the libtards in this world are trying to make it impossible for you and I to live, to make it completely feudalistic, okay? A two-class system, rich and poor, the 1% and the 99%, okay? No middle class. This has been tried over and over and over and over and over in history, and it's failed every time. Make preparations, meet somebody, learn a little bit more about, because you think about your car, your truck, whatever you have, if you can't go anywhere, think about if you can't get from your house to the grocery store, to the doctor, to the hospital, to the hardware store, to anywhere. Think about if you can't use your tractor out on your farm. Do you have mules? Not saying that you need to go out and get donkeys or something like that. But this is what they're trying to drive to. And they're going to come up with every stupid law they possibly can to stop it. Pinball out.